let me pass this out to you. Can anyone tell me who Plato is? Who is Plato? This is kind of our brain teaser for it this morning. He's a philosopher, all right, and who was his trusty sidekick? Socrates. Socrates was his trusty sidekick. And so they say that anything that was written by Plato and Socrates. The interesting thing about those guys is that they borrowed a lot of stuff. So the Greeks knew a lot of stuff, but they went around and gathered stories about other people's existences, and they were able to write it down into kind of Western thought. So this is the Allegory of the Cave from Plato's writings, The Republic. And The Republic is just this huge, just monstrous book that Plato and Socrates it's about them talking back and forth about different subjects. And this struck me as something that would be extremely useful in our conversations about how do we start to look at our visions and missions and create our final paper. One thing that, so let's just start reading it, all right? So who'd like to read this first paragraph?
Imagine prisoners chained since childhood deep inside a crate. Not only are their limbs
immobilized
by the chains, their heads are as well so that their eyes are fixed on a wall.
Okay.
Behind the prisoners is an enormous fire, and between the fire and the prisoners there is a raised walkway. Okay, along which men carry shapes of various animals, plants, and other things. The shapes cast shadows on the wall which occupy the prisoners' attention.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. Here you go, honey. You're welcome. So imagine prisoners chained since childhood deep inside a cave. All right. So what do you think Plato's getting to with the cave? What are some of the symbols that caves represent? What do caves represent? Isolation. What else do caves represent? Darkness. Okay, it could be a home, right? All right. What else what do you think of caves? Shelter. Hiding places. All right. So imagine prisoners chained since childbirth deep inside a cave. Not only are their limbs immobilized by the chains, but their heads as well, so that their eyes are fixed on the wall. Behind the prisoners is an enormous fire. And between the fire and the prisoners is a raised way, along which men carry shapes of various animals, plants, and other things. The shapes cast shadows on the wall, which occupy the prisoner's attention. All right. So what are the prisoners doing? They're watching the shadows, okay? So they're watching the shadows, and that's doing what to them? What is that doing for the prisoners?
Entertaining them.
It's entertaining them. It's occupying their attention, right? I think that's what it says. If you were a prisoner, what should you be thinking about? How to get out. Dates? Yeah. Yeah, how to get out, right? But these prisoners aren't thinking about that. What are they thinking about? They're thinking about the shapes, all right? Since they've been there since childhood, they don't know any other way.
Right.
Okay, so that's all they would think about because that's what they're seeing, right? Okay, so I'll read this next one. Yes, ma'am.
Immobilize is not a word I use every day. What is it?
Immobilize means to make still. So if a child is acting up, a parent may try to immobilize that kid.
Okay.
All right. So I saw Jurassic Park, and they shot a dinosaur with a tranquilizer gun to immobilize them. Okay. So also, when the shape carriers speak, an echo against the wall causes the prisoners to believe that the words come from the shadows. The prisoners engage in what appears to be just a game, naming the shapes as they come by. This, however, is the only reality they know, even though they are seeing mere shadows of images. Okay? So what is a shadow? It's an image. What else is a shadow? Okay, it's something. It's kind of a reflection of something due to light, right? If you see my shadow, do you see me? Not necessarily. All right. So these people are seeing what? What are they seeing? They're just seeing the... Are they seeing the thing? They're seeing a shape or image of the thing, but not the real thing, right? What is this game? What do you think the game is? The prisoners engaged in what appears to be a game. Name the shapes as they come by. What is that doing for the prisoners? Passing time. All right, so their game is just kind of passing time. They're naming these shapes. And what is an echo? They said here, let me see. The prisoners engaged in what? Yeah, so they think it's the shapes talking and not the people standing behind them, right? But what is an echo? It's a sound.
A voice, music, or whatever.
Okay, it's a sound that bounces off of something. It could be a voice, a music, or something like that, right? It's a faraway sound. Is it the original sound? No, it is not. It's what? It's an echo, right? So how is an echo changed from the original voice? So when I yell into a cavern and I go, hello, it sounds hollow, right? It sounds hollow. So I say, hello, it's like, hello, hello, hello. All right? So let's keep going. So suppose a prisoner is released and compelled to stand up around him. All right? So if a prisoner escapes and stands up, what is he going to see? What's this prisoner going to see? He's going to see what's around him. And what's around him? He's going to see the fire. He's going to see the cave. He's going to see what?
The people with the shapes.
The people with the shapes, right? Now, the people with the shapes, what are they showing? Are they showing prisoners what they need to see, or are they showing the prisoners something else? Because they're showing the prisoners shapes of animals, plants, and other things.
Is that what they're doing, or are they just carrying things? I don't think that's their mission, is to show them shapes.
Ah, so you don't think that the carriers, the people walking around, because it does say here, they are carrying shapes of various plants, animals, and other things, right? So are they meaning to show those things, or are they...
Well, I would assume they're... Because it doesn't say specifically that they're trying to entertain these prisoners. They're going about their duty, and as a result, they're providing entertainment for these prisoners.
Okay. I like this. All right. So if a prisoner escaped and stood up, so he's unshackled, his mind is free, what would he see? He'd see the people walking around. What else would he see? He'd see the fire. He'd see what the shapes were, right?
Possibly an entrance or exit.
He may see an entrance or exit, all right? He'd see the other prisoners, right? With what? How would he see those prisoners? Shackled like he was, all right? His eyes will be blinded by the firelight. The shapes passing will appear less real than the shadows. How is that? How will they appear less real than the shadows?
Because it's actually the real thing, not the shadows, and maybe the shadows were the real thing.
So he thought originally that the shadows were the real thing, and now he gets to see that the horse that was on the wall that he thought was 15 feet tall is actually 6 inches, right? As an example. Mm-hmm. So that becomes less real. The real thing is less real than what he originally thought. Okay. His eyes will be blinded by the firelight. The shapes will appear less real than their shadows. Similarly, if he is dragged up and out of the cave and into the sunlight, his eyes will be blinded, that he will not be able to see anything. What do you think that's talking about? So if he leaves the cave, go ahead.
In the darkness for so long.
He's been.
When he's exposed to light, it then has an effect on his eyesight.
Okay.
So he has more trouble focusing.
Okay. So he's been in the darkness for so long that he now has trouble focusing on real light, right? So let's keep going. So if he's dragged up out of the cave and into the sunlight, his eyes will be blinded, that he will not be able to see anything. At first, he will be able to see darker shapes, such as shadows, and only later brighter and brighter objects. The last object he'd be able to see is the sun, which, in time, he would learn to see as that. All right? So when he first comes out of the cave, he can't see very well, right? Because he's blinded by the light. Why would the sun be the last thing he could see? Because it's the brightest. All right? No problem. Because it's the brightest. So once this person has been enlightened, what does enlightened mean? What does that word mean? Aware of, or what? So you were in darkness, and now you have been enlightened, right? So brought to the light, brightened up, to have a new awareness of, to wake up, okay? Once thus enlightened, so to speak, the freed prisoner would no doubt return to the cave to free his fellow bondsmen, all right? Would you do that? If you were free and you got to see what was true, would you go back to help other people? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, it's part of just our human nature is once you get free, you want to go back and help somebody else. But let's see what happens. The problem, however, is that he would not want to, they would not want to be free, his fellow bonds. Oh. They would not want to be freed. Descending back into the cave will require the freed prisoner's eyes to adjust again for a time. Why would the people not want to be free? So this prisoner, who's one of them, breaks out, goes out and sees what's around them, goes out of the cave, can see the sun for what it is, can see real trees, can see real grass, and comes back and says, you know what? Hey guys, let's do something. We can get out of here. Let's do something. Why would the prisoners not want to be free? Because they've been in darkness so long. They're used to that life.
The way they should. Afraid of change.
They're afraid of change. They're scared of change, right? So let's keep going. So let's try and telegraph. What do you think is going to happen to this freed person who goes back into the cave to try and free these people who don't want to be freed? What do you think is going to happen to him? Just off the top, what do you think? What might happen to him?
He might get caught.
He might what?
Get caught again.
He might get caught again. What else?
So wait, was he voluntarily free?
It doesn't say. It doesn't say. It says that he was free. So he might get caught again. All right. So that was a risk he was willing to take. Okay. Right here it says he had to descend back into the cave, will require the freed prisoner's eyes to adjust again for a time. He would be inferior at the luxurious. He would be inferior at the ludicrous process of identifying shapes on the wall. All right? So the man who was just out seeing the sun would have to, why would his eyes have to adjust back to the cave? Because of the darkness, right? And are those people in the cave seeing, what's the relationship between the sun and the fire? Is there a relationship there? Okay, they're both hot.
They're both bright.
They're both bright. What's the relationship between the fire and the sun? The fire is used to do what in the cave?
Oh, they both go out.
Heat, light, right? What does light represent? Knowledge. Light could be knowledge. What else could light be? It could be the whole concept of vision, right? So the fire and the sun, are those are two ways to see things, right? What does firelight cast? Lots of what? Yes, firelight casts lots of shadows. Have you ever been in a campfire and you're standing close to the fire and all you can see is a little bit of the fire and shadows, right? Because everything else is blocked out. All right, so let's keep going. The problem, however, is that he would be freed, they're sentenced back into the cave, blah, blah, blah. This would make his fellow prisoners murderous towards anyone who attempted to free them. Why is that?
All they know is the game.
All they know is the game.
And if you're inferior at any part of the game, and that's as a result of having been outside, and they sure as hell wouldn't want to go out there or anywhere else that is not ready.
Yeah.
He's trying to take them out of their comfort zone.
He's trying to take them out of their comfort zone. Yeah. There have been many people in our society who have been able to see a vision that the rest of us, I'll make an assumption and say the rest of us either haven't seen or been able to help make change, right, in terms of societal things. Name a couple of those people who have been able to step out of the status quo and say, this is not right. Come over here and look at this. Can you name some of those people for me? Sojourner Truth. Name someone else who's been able to look at the world and say, this isn't right. This is a way that we can do something. Martin Luther King is another example. Who might be another example? John F. Kennedy would be an example. Right? Bush lately? Okay. Desmond Tutu. All right. What happens to people who step outside of the box like that? They get criticized. They take risks, right? They get shot, right? Okay. Which is worse, to be that freed person and to know that all the people around you that you're trying to move and create change for don't want to be changed, or to be the prisoner? Which do you think is worse? Let's start with that.
Be the prisoner.
To be the prisoner. Why?
Because you can always overcome the criticism and all that, going out of your whatever, but they never have the chance to actually see it for themselves.
Okay, so the prisoners don't have the chance to see it for themselves.
And they choose not to.
Because they choose not to.
They don't have an incentive to change.
They don't have...
Whereas he's seen it, so he wants to change.
Okay. Answer this for yourself. Are you the freed man or are you the prisoner? Don't answer that out loud. Answer that for yourself. Which are you? Are you seeing what's true about you? Are you seeing from the sun, or are you seeing from a fire that someone has set up for you? Are you seeing shadows, or are you seeing the real image itself? Where we're trying to go with this class, is to help you to be able to release yourself from those shackles and take off those binds from your head and create your own destiny, your own future. So my segue for this is free your mind and the rest will follow. All right? So if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're right. All right? So that's our brain teaser for today. So I want you guys to really gnaw on that and feel free to use this. I found this to be really profound, and you can go to so many different levels with this allegory. And what is an allegory? Okay, an allegory basically is just a story that that you can kind of feed in and teach us lessons and ideas and concepts. Okay, so that's our allegory of the cave.